City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
I was born in the city, I was was raised on its edges. My pop work is life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people. This is a city I met all my best friends, and I wanna thank every brick. I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city of mine. I owe you most my best moments in life. See, I fell in love for the first time in Golden Gate Park. I saw my first rap show at Great American Hall. I used to beg my homies for a ride across the bridge to goof off and spend the whole damn day doing whatever we want. Keith drove us down to Ice Place while we roll up a blunt, and me and Jack would get stoney, walk around and get lost. Don't think I'll ever truly pay back all I was lucky to get just by walking through the city. No, I'm a small part of this.
City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
I never really had a place to call my own, so I travel and I roam till I find that. But I'm full of adventure, so I wander and I venture, and it's safe to say that really I don't mind that. I book a flight to try to figure where my mind's at, a spot where I don't spend no money, just some time at. I mix and mingle with the people till I learn a little. I brought some weed and baby, maybe we could burn a little. She said you're funny, I said no, I'm David, and I left. Sun shining, birds chirping, let me take a breath. I'm headed to the city where my chance to make it best. What people like to give a little, then you take the rest. I'm hoping one day maybe I can find a place to rest. I fell in love with life and wonder where it take me next. I like the hustle and bustle, I fell in love with the fashion. I feel the pulse of the city, it's moving me like a passion.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to the Crazy Crafter Livestream. My name is Colin Bresci. I am the Crazy Crafter. I am joined as always by my dear friends Michael Patterson from Nat One Videos and Zane from Zane Morgan from
Hey.
Oh yeah, and who else? Why do you have your mask on? Are you worried about COVID from me?
No, Dad.
Dust? Oh, dust is not a bad thing. That's true. That's true. Dust is
I think he's worried about computer viruses.
I think, yeah, computer viruses is real. What he really needs to worry about is how many times do you think Daddy's going to burn himself with a soldering iron on today's stream? 10 times. Okay, 10 times.
10 fingers, 10
fingers. Yeah, 10 fingers, 10 digits. Today, our featured guest, besides this little dude here wanting to learn a little bit more about electronics, we have Dafydd from Terrain Tronics. Welcome, my friend, to the stream.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the welcome.
Oh, yes. Thank you for taking the time. We're not only just taking this week, but we've got next week with you as well, dude. We too much awesomeness to contain within one stream for y'all. So,
I'm a crazy. I'm a mini crazy.
yeah, you're the mini Crazy Crafter. We know, but you're not so mini anymore. You're kind of big. Anyway, thank you all out there for joining us today on today's stream. Who do we've got out there, Zane? Who's out there? You've probably got it all fancy up there in through feeding it through OBS yet? No, maybe not. But who's out there? Who do we got out joining us today?
We have Lisa, Dungeon Matron. We have Doug, McWolf and Sons, John, McIvory's Ghost. We have this weird person called Terrain Tronics.
Weird.
Cross from Campaign Terrain. Chimera Wargaming, Stefano, welcome.
Welcome.
And Robert Evans checking in.
Woohoo.
Welcome.
Thanks,
Glenn just coming in.
Oh, great.
And Richard Smith, Tina Martins.
Oh man, it's popping off.
Welcome.
It's popping off. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. This is a pretty special stream today. For those of you that are or have been interested in learning more about incorporating electronics into your everyday tabletop terrain builds, Dafydd from Terrain Tronics is the person to go to for the one-stop shop tutorial, as it were. Dafydd runs a YouTube channel, Terrain Tronics. You can find him over on Instagram as well. If you are not subscribed or following him right now, you definitely should head on over and check out his content, because one of the cool things that I'm really enjoy seeing now is more and more folks from our community and our hobby integrating electronics within their build, and talk about another level of enhancement for your terrain. and it's not that terrifying, which is I think kind of one of the whole purposes behind why you set everything up, right, Dafydd? Like you wanted to make this a little bit more accessible.
That was the whole thing, right? If you go back 2 years, the only people really doing this were the train set builders, the model railways and so on. And, you needed a small college degree to keep up with those guys.
Yep.
And I'm trying, one step at a time with the help of a lot of feedback on my YouTube channel and on Instagram and so on, trying to find ways of making it easier for people who have no background in this stuff to really like wow the people, whether they're playing 40K Dungeons and Dragons or whether they're making train sets, right? Railway sets. Just something that makes an audience go, whoa, how did you do that? And, peer that little bit closer.
Yep.
That's the goal.
It's now, and I know this is, no strain. Zane and Michael, definitely a little bit more bold and ambitious when it comes to incorporating electronics. It's not their first foray into this realm. Michael threw a mini Tesla coil in his build last year.
Oh yes.
That's cheating though. I didn't do any electronics. I basically stuck at already made Tesla coil in, so it's different. That's not.
Hey, no shame
putting
in
a
that,
tea
right?
light in terrain.
Hey, there's no shame in that either, right? There's no shame in any of those. You find whatever works with a minimum effort. I'm a big fan of minimum effort.
Yep.
And I think, Michael, didn't you do a build something from Lord of the Rings where there was a casket or something like that, and and the reed switch on that? I thought when I saw that, I thought he's got it. It takes a certain aha moments where people go, "What I can do."
So full disclosure, if you didn't exist, that build wouldn't exist because I picked up the reed switches thing from John Lombardi.
Right.
When he did his, I picked it up from John Lombardi. He did the traps thing, the traps with lights. So I learned it from him, right? and he learned that from you. So you were the source of my balance too. So there you go.
Oh, wow! I didn't know that. That's I may blush. I may turn a bright red LED color.
And you're not even connected to or are you? You're probably connected to a Conway switch or some sort. You're connected to something.
I'm always connected, right?
You are always connected.
I'm like the guy from The Matrix, with a spike in the back of his head.
That's super cool. See, that's what I love about the crafting community, right? That the story that Michael just shared. Again, being able to connect folks with one another and share. That's the whole purpose of it, right? Sharing that information and the inspiration that he got from you and John. That's super dope. You're single-handedly changing the crafting world here, buddy. That's what you're doing, Dafydd.
That's kind. I'm trying.
Hey, that's I think here we are, right, on this stream. I'm getting ready to learn about stuff that I knew at one point or another in some limited capacity, but I get to review a little bit more. And you're going to learn a little bit about today too. Yeah. Let's not hook that on your shirt, because if it falls, you're trapped in here forever with me. No, you're not. We can push the button over there, but it's easier if you need to go. We'll push that button. Anyway, we had should we do a little opening of our boxes?
I've already opened mine.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I've opened mine too.
Let me close the lid.
I have one request, if I may, for the folks on chat, right? I was talking to my wife this morning. I said, wouldn't it be great if we had something interactive going on in the chat? So here we go, right? No Googling allowed. Names of songs that include electronics.
Ooh.
Right? So the first thing, the reason this came to mind, Colin, you reposted Zane's Instagram, but you changed the song.
I did.
And you changed it to Electric Avenue.
I sure did.
And I thought that was fantastic. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna rock down to.
You didn't like my Daft Punk? Okay.
Oh no, my son heard it and he's like, that's your favorite song, Dad, isn't it? And I'm like, yes, it is, son. So that was awesome as well. But I just thought to myself, would it be great if in the chat here we see song titles? I've come up with a few and I'm not going to give them away. But Yeah, just something silly in the background.
Love it.
Colin, I'm sorry. That took way longer to explain
A
this.
great idea, man.
It is perfect. So
I have one right away.
Anyone? Yeah, I've got a bunch that are coming to mind over like right away. Like it is more than welcome. You are more than welcome. Like anyone who comes on the stream, it's yours. It's everyone's stream. It's not my stream. It's all of our streams. So you feel free to take the reins whenever you want, there, buddy. You are the featured guest today, and I think that's.
Well, I saw McWolf and Sons already threw stuff on, and Sao Gwyn has also threw some stuff on as well. OMB Electricity.
Yes.
This is gonna be a fun one.
I'm putting all my stuff back in the box so I can do it.
Me too.
I kept it pretty tight knit. Luke and his Scenics, G-Boom and his procs on add-ons, Dafydd and his electronics. That's right. One of these days, that's an epic collaboration.
That'd be a great stream to get all of those guys together at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it would be. That would be amazing to like everyone get on and what could all those folks build? What could we all build in a few hours time? I'm sure.
Actually, it would be fun.
Competition.
It would be fun to do a planning session like that, kind of a discussing ideas, and then have, what was his name? The guy who does Lord of the Rings terrain, the big one.
Zorp.
Yeah, you know how he had like everybody contribute their stuff, or basically boxes shipping around the world, burning up carbon and so on.
Right.
But the idea of doing something like that, and kind of. Somebody starts off doing the foam stage. It gets shipped to somebody else who adds, the electronics, and it gets shipped around the place. That could be. I know.
Do it.
You guys have a Patreon.
This is. I'm game for all of it. Have you ever been to Electric Ladyland?
Oh, that's good. That's good. Dungeon Matron asked if I do any sound stuff.
Yep.
I have prototypes.
Oh.
I actually have stuff where, with a like a key card, it's like an inventory card that I have, and you swipe it and you hear a door rumbling open, that kind of thing.
Nice.
It's on the list. It's on the list.
Do it.
We got to get people to light up LEDs first, man. That's.
That's true.
I love sound, so.
One step at a time. Yeah. One step at a time. All right. I'm going to switch over here, and we're going to kind of walk through. I don't know. It's hard for you to see what I'm showing. I can bring it up here and show you over here on the camera. I've got, for those of you at home who don't know the setup, I have to have, or I don't have to, but it's nice for my guests and everyone else to see me. I have the little webcam over here that's set up for Zoom, just off to my right. And then I've got all the other cameras, the over-the-top crafting cam, and this one right over here. So I'll show it up. I'll bring stuff up and show it over so Dafydd can see it as well.
So I can tell you what it is because I can't remember what's in the box.
Oh, good. That's good. What do you want to tell them, honey? I know he's really excited. When a little bit later on, after the stream today, I'm going to go teach a Hollywood swashbuckling workshop online to a bunch of theater students at a local college theater festival, and then we've got his buddies and my buddy coming over, and they're hanging out a little bit later today. So he's a little excited about that. But before then, let's learn about electronics. Let's see what Dafydd sent us. Okay, here we go. Let's switch over to this. Ben.
This is my favorite piece.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yep. It's amazing. Let us go.
Love it.
I'm actually using mine right now.
I used mine last night.
For my French cider.
For your French cider.
I upgraded mine. So okay. I have a slate one.
Oh,
a little bit of Welsh slate there. But yeah.
I want that one too.
Yep. So
we'll see. I can't get it to you by next week.
I've got my awesome coaster here that was sent over. That's super cool. Okay. Dude, there are so many cool things in here. So I've got.
So to give a little background, I sent a care package to everyone right before this. Sorry.
No, it's good. Tell
I mean,
you sent us the
dude.
care package. What did you want? What was the goal and purpose? Like you put a little bit of everything in here for like what was. Did you have an end goal in mind for the stream? Like, was there something that you were? But I know this week is a lot of instructional and getting to know how the wiring and electronics works. But like for next week, what are you envisioning? What are you hoping that we make with all this, Dafydd? What's the hope?
So I recently released a puzzle set, if you will, right? So a puzzle room set. So it allows you to let me see here. Hopefully the stream will be showing my browser puzzle room kit, because I got my hands on a new laser engraver recently, and everything suddenly became about cutting stuff. You know, it's like, you know, as soon as you get a screwdriver, everything looks like a screw.
Yep.
And so the aim of this technology really is not just to add lights to a room, but to make it interactive. So you glue magnets underneath the bases of your minis, and as you move them around, when you stand over a certain spot, for instance, it triggers a magnetic switch called a reed switch, which can then change the lighting, right? So for instance, when they step on a certain place in the room, all the lights could go off.
Oh, super cool.
And so I wanted to put all the little bits in there, and also, if I'm going to ship a box to you, I'm going to like pack it to the rafters.
Yeah.
For instance, with this kit, I could have just shipped, 4 walls, and a little bit of stuff. But I'm like, look, if I'm cutting a 12-inch by 12-inch piece of wood, I may as well just shove it all in the bag. So there's a whole bunch of little accessories in there. There's windows, there's doors, there's a portcullis, not portcullis, a porthole if you're doing like a Navy-based
so cool.
shipwreck type stuff. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that's just like tools along with the actual framing for the walls. And then I also laser cut the foam as well, so you'll find that in there as well. There's 2 floors there.
Gosh, it looks like you used a ruler for the foam. That's impressive.
No, it's the laser. It's the laser. You just throw it on there with the design.
Oh, snap! You did. Look at you.
Yeah.
Ah!
So you can vary the strength of the laser. So you turn it right down to sort of mouse farts of power, and you just tell it do straight lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the other way, and it's done. Beautiful.
Alan just said, "Mary."
Yeah, right. Like, get me all the stuff. Nope, I did not say that because she's gonna be like, nope. It'll get vetoed. It'll get vetoed so quick. This is super cool. And you're posting. You showed it up there. Did you have the browser up there on your website? Is that where it was? Don't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Don't you? He's trying to.
So if you guys, you can find all of this stuff at terraintronics.com. I sell everything through Tindy. Tindy's like the nerdy electronics version of Etsy, if you will. Yeah. Nice. And so, they're awesome. Everything gets shipped here from Dallas, Texas. And so, whether it's just you're looking to get into the LEDs and so on, I do a small kit of LEDs, which are really awesome. Not sure if you guys can see that, but that's a whole bunch of different LEDs, drivers for them. These new flexible LEDs, which are amazing.
I purchased that actually. I got that.
It's somewhere in a box that you packed right before you moved.
Yeah, I'll find it eventually.
Well, this is an extremely generous. Ben, you cannot touch. He's trying to use the mouse and click buttons over here on OBS. That's not going to go well for the stream. It's all of that to say, this is an extremely generous care package that you've sent our way, buddy, and we cannot thank you enough. Like I'm trying to figure out how. Actually, that's not true. I have a couple of things in mind for LEDs for an upcoming build that I'm gonna participate in for. It's the Doomsday Challenge that Denny from Model Railroader Model Dystopia is running on his Instagram. I definitely will be in need of some stuff there. Ben, you need to stop grabbing stuff, kiddo. Anyway, in addition to our stuff here on the stream, this is going to be kind of the next month of my life is incorporating and working working with these materials, bud. So I'm
Well,
excited.
yeah, I was just gonna say I really like what Zane has done recently, right?
Yes.
It's a, how do I say this? You tiptoed into adding electronics really nicely, right? The lights on that last build that you did, Zane, with the water wheel. I mean, the water wheel was amazing, right? I think anybody who saw that on your Instagram and on the video just went, wow.
Yep.
But just the additional lights in the house, right? The flickering candles that you can see through the windows. In other words, it doesn't always have to be in the play space.
Mm-hmm.
It can be just something that's almost like secondary light. The guys who do the car kits, who have the LEDs under the car, right? You're never looking directly at the LEDs. You're seeing the glow from them. And so being able to do the same with even if you're doing a tavern and you're just doing the outside, or a lot of 40k players, right? The Warhammer guys, they don't make interior to buildings, they just make the exterior to buildings.
Right.
Just being able to have lights inside and having it shine through adds so much character, I think.
Yeah, for me, it's all about adding that little extra atmospheric bit to it to really sell. Because I guess my style is more on the realistic spectrum of things, so I just like that added realism. So
now,
go ahead. Sorry,
I was gonna say the LED string, is that the one you did you order some of that, Zane? Is the LED string you ordered?
Yeah. So that was, well, it wasn't a string of LEDs, but it was I bought the Conway Castle board from Dafydd back when he was running I think it was Black Friday sale or something, where it was buy 2 Conway Castle boards and then you get this box of LEDs.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
I took advantage of that and I said, well, shit, let me use it, and threw it into my build, and it was simple to wire up, and that's really cool because you can control the brightness of the 4 LEDs.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
I've got 2 of those. That's something that I've been wanting to do. John Lombardi also was using that. Haven't got a clue what these boards do though. Like
I just told you.
Well, we can definitely walk through it. So just to give you a look at those LED strings, I do these small ones as well. So I had to go through like 5 or 6 different vendors in China to try and find a company that does them. But these are like 1 inch long. These ones are rigid, they're not flexible, but they're so bright and the color is just so vibrant. If you're thinking of doing anything that's like cyberpunky, I wouldn't really see them in a fantasy setting unless you wanted to do magic. Yeah. If you wanted to kind of have like long grass where there's magic fairies going through it or something like that, then you could do something like this. But they're just super fun. I know that sounds silly, but they're just it's such a different look than regular LEDs.
No, it doesn't sound silly at all. I'm excited to see what everyone in the community starts coming up with and how they implement them. Something else you posted the other day, you had some neon signs that I thought were super cool.
I was just reaching back for that.
Yes. Hold on.
So these are acrylic, right? That's been cut. If you don't have access to a laser, I understand you can etch it with a Dremel.
Stop.
Make a mask and etch it with a Dremel pretty easily. And then all we have, and it's glued shut now, sadly, but all there is in here is 1 LED strip. That's just kind of right here. I'm not sure if that's coming across terribly clearly. Let's see if that wakes up. There we go. Yeah, it's just kind of just here, and it's right now it's being run by Conway board. So where is it? Let's follow the wires here. This is me in prototyping mode. I have no shame. It's hooked up, right? I've got power going into it over USB. That's one of the nice things about the Conway board, is that if you've got a USB power bank and you've got room in the base of your design or whatever, then just run it off. Just run it off there. It's really, really easy and easily rechargeable, right? Unplug it and off you go.
Nice.
I'll put that down over there.
So
Running out of room here.
What I'm really curious about that you did recently was the door. There was
the rolling door.
Yep.
So
because
that's something that I would like to do at some point, is to like incorporate moving parts. I haven't done anything with moving parts yet, and that would be cool at some point.
Well, that's what he sent us right here.
Yeah, that's the kit is there for you. That's what the remote control is for. So I'll give you an idea, right? This is This is a kit that I have. I'm using the main screen here because it updates faster than, than the other one. This is a Carnarvon castle board. So all my boards are named after castles in Wales because there's lots of them, and that means I can have lots of projects. And so this is driven by a small microcontroller that is like $3 or $4 on Amazon. I don't sell them because there's virtually no point in me selling them. You know, when Amazon will outsell me in a heartbeat. But this little board on top can drive an LED string that you see down here, and it can drive a motor, which is where you get your motion from, and it can take instructions from a remote control. And so this is where you know. So for instance, you know, pushing number 1, which maybe you'll see around here. Let's see if this works. Will come on work for Rochi. Of course, it doesn't work. There we go.
It knows your
the camera takes the stage. Nope. Yeah, exactly. So hopefully you can see this this arm moving back and forth. There we go. Right, and so the challenge with these kinds of motors are also low cost, right? And they you can't move kilograms or pounds of weight with them, but you can move a fair bit. And so the challenge with them is to be able to convert 180 degrees of rotation into whatever you want it to do, right? So for a door, you know, the challenge is, how do I move a door 2 inches, for instance, when I can only turn 180 degrees? So there's some, not math, but hitting my head against the wall, trying to work out how to do that. And a lot of it was like high school math, but stuff I hadn't even thought about in way too long, 25 years more. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. The other one I've just finished work on is a mechanism to raise a drawbridge or a portcullis.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So if anybody out there wants to do a collaboration on that kind of stuff for their YouTube channel and so on.
Me. And I have an idea already if you're up for it.
Okay, fantastic. You know, I love collaborating with people. The whole reason I set up my business, you know, this channel and everything else, is not because I enjoy working with foam and paint. I am terrible with foam and paint. Terrible. But I love the idea of being a part of somebody's creation.
So, I mean, the idea that I would like to see is in Skyrim, whenever you play, whenever you get to a dungeon, you know, whenever you use the claw to open the door.
Yes. Okay. I haven't played Skyrim.
There's a big circular doors that move and open. I think that it would be super cool, and I think that like there could be a reed switch in the door that you could actually have like a claw that goes into the door, and then the door actually does do the whole.
Oh wow!
Open. Like I think that it's possible. I couldn't do it. Like it's. I know you could do it.
Oh, here he goes. We saw Dafydd do this on John's stream. Someone was just like, make a trap, and he was just like, how would I do that? And then brainstormed it on the live stream. And by the end of the stream, there was an idea.
Well, yeah. You know, for the motors, it's all about gears, right? And it's all about ratios of gears. So, for instance, you know, I'm not sure if you remember this from high school or whatever, but you know, if you have a gear that has twice as many teeth, so if this has 20 teeth and this has 40, every time this turns 180 degrees, this will turn 360, and you can do tricks like that, right? And then, you know, if you have they don't necessarily have to mesh, right? You could have an elastic band transfer that power. So you could have your, you know, if this is your door in Skyrim, right, and you have something that needs to turn in the middle, is that a fair kind of way of saying it?
Yep.
Michael?
Yep.
Right.
So basically, it's like a circular door in the middle of a wall, and it
okay, sort of like that.
Think.
Wow, it looks like I've drawn a giant nipple.
Yep.
Anyway.
This is there. My child is watching. That's okay. No big deal.
Sorry.
What does that look like?
Boys have nipples too.
What is that? It looks like a donut. That's what I think that looks
like. A donut. Thank you. A donut. But does the whole donut need to turn, Michael, or does it, or is it just something in the middle?
So imagine you've got the square. So the circle in the middle is the door. I'm not sure if it just goes up like that, the circle lifts up, or if it rolls off to the side.
Oh, that's fun. Well, just to keep things simple, if you look from the top down, right? So here's your kind of, I'm looking down from the ceiling, right? And you've got, your circular door by here.
Yep.
Sorry, this is my happy zone, guys. You could quite easily make it rotate away, right? So it falls away and rotates, right? And the question is, what do you have behind it? Empty table? Or do you need like a sub room behind it that's lit from the corner or something that invites people to walk in further?
It would be basically into another chamber.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's actually pretty easy, right? So the motors that I use are called servo motors. And they're cheap. They use the remote control cars and stuff a lot. And what's nice about them is you basically say to them from your controller, hey, I only want you to turn 90 degrees. Or I want you to turn 180 or 45, whatever, it's got its own controller to say, okay, I've opened this up enough now. I've opened it up more, right? If you just use a standard motor that you always found in, I don't know, remote control cars, like standard spinning motors, you've got no stopping point. You've got no extreme, right? You've got no, hey, you've gone too far now. So servos do that for you. And so the nice thing is, right, you could literally have the arm of the servo, which is this bit, the white bit you see here. You attach that to the bottom of your circular door and you say, hey, open 90 degrees. And it'll open 90 degrees.
That's amazing.
Right, and then what you could have then, because you've got the LED strip control as well in the room that's behind, just put a couple in the corners just to kind of make it look like a dark room with lights in there, which encourages your players to go into the next room. And then you clear off the table, put the next room in, and so on. But to do that, you'd use one of our Carnarvon castle boards, which if I jump back here,
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying it's very possible, and it's not beyond your capability in any way whatsoever.
I mean, it's not like you want to make the Chamber of Secrets door from Harry Potter with the locks, the snake, which was actually a practical effect, by the way. That was not
really?
CG. Yes.
Wow.
No, do you know what? I mean, all of that we've just discussed is extremely cool and would work really well. I've just looked up a video on YouTube of the Skyrim door. It's a little bit, it actually goes down, which you couldn't do because you can't bring the door down through the table.
I mean, if you build up a basement level.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I do that's the whole kind of reason in the puzzle room kit, which you have in your box. Is there's 2 inches of floor there, right? Mm-hmm. Where I normally hide the electronics, but if you wanted to slide a door down, I wonder if you could rotate it. So if the door is circular like this, right? Rotate it like that.
Yep. I mean, the thing is that I think that you don't necessarily need to do it exactly like what's on the computer game. Like if you get the look of the build right, and as long as you get a mechanism that opens the door in a cool kind of way, it doesn't particularly matter that it's spot on the game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The whole point of adding electronics like this really is to wow your players in that kind of, they weren't expecting it, and suddenly, good God, the door moved, right? And the DM is sat there with a crap-eating grin on his face, that he's pushed a button slyly with his remote control, and everything has suddenly changed in the room. One of the simpler effects I've looked at is, for instance, you walk into a room and there's normally candles flickering away. Something happens, the candles switch off, and suddenly there's green light that bathes the entire scene. Right? You're in trouble when that happens. Or, when the whole scene turns red, you're in trouble, right? There's a big monster that's about to come in and kick your butt. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking through the chat here.
Wayne Stanton said, how about using a shutter design? So like the camera shutter where it
closes. Yeah, perfectly. Yeah, that's the, what do they call that? Not reticle. Retina. That's the, like a retina, like a camera lens, right? Possible, I don't know if I'm smart enough to work out the mechanics of that. That would need a real mechanical engineer.
I mean, there's YouTube videos out there. I've seen some. It's just you have to get more precise.
What if you took an old broken lens? What if you really took an old broken camera lens, and hack that a little bit, and just put a wheel on the outside to grip it and turn it? That might do. That might do a lot.
Cool, but that is a next level kind of build there.
Yeah. We're kind of dreaming of stuff here. We haven't even lit up an LED yet.
I mean, this is kind of what happens on the stream. We will light an LED up, I'm sure.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
Next week.
But I'm kind of curious. So someone, I think it was Lisa, mentioned earlier in the chat about sound, and I just like making a little connection with something that Zane made for his clock tower and also for his golem build. Like he had these like little sound modules that you can record sound into. And then we kind of collaborated on the Frankenstein build that I did with the Tesla coil. And
we lit an LED. Okay.
One of the the Frankenstein build didn't turn out as extremely complicated as we'd originally planned. We were planning like to have the sound triggered by reed switches to have like "It's alive" coming out.
It's alive.
It's. I was just curious about like, I don't know if you've used one of those little sound modules before.
Yes.
So you can you trigger that with a reed switch?
Yes.
Or
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But what I would do there, let me go back a couple of steps here. That Conway board is the most popular board I sell, right? And it's because it's easy and it just controls the lights and so on. However, as soon as I want to do any kind of logic, this happened, then this happened, or when this and this happens, or when somebody pushes a button, it overrides everything. You need something with a little bit more of a brain. Now, those modules you spoke about, they can be triggered, but they need a little bit of just a couple of things to clean up the signal from the reed switch, right? And so in that case, I'm like, I may as well just do it in a little $3 module or whatever. So the ones I like, there's these modules available now that are MP3 player modules.
Yep.
And they take an SD card, right? So you download the sound effect you want from the web, right? Copy the file over just like it was a USB stick to your SD card, like taking pictures off or on your SD card. Plug it in, and it just works. It takes a trigger signal and it plays. Whether it's a 3-second sound effect or whether it's a 10-minute rumbling in the background, volcano erupting or whatever, right? They're really, really cool. I used one this year for a Halloween effect. I had a skeleton outside the door that told terrible jokes. Right, and so every time somebody walked up, right, what the skeletons say before they eat: "Bon appetit!" Har 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 har. And so great dad jokes. But anyway, so for that kind of thing, those MP3 modules are way, way, way more effective than the little voice recorder ones with the built-in microphone and so on. And you can do a lot more stuff. You can send a message saying play pattern number 1, play pattern number 2, for different effects and so on.
And I did look into those when I was doing this build, but this for me was just easier at the time because I didn't want to get into all that. I just wanted to get the build done. But yeah,
right. It sounds like you're using basically gift cards, right? Gift card circuits.
It is. The only difference is this has an internal disk drive on it, basically, so I can plug it into my computer like a USB drive and drop.
Oh wow, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice.
So there was one where you press the button and it records and you get that kind of shitty audio, but this one I wanted more clear sound, so I just bought the USB one. But,
nice.
But I definitely looked into the ones where you could have multiple. You can control it with, say, an Arduino board or something.
That's exactly what I use for everything. Everything's Arduino, and everything's you can open it and.
I'm
go ahead.
had a little thought, guys, is that so some of us are a little bit familiar. You're obviously completely entrenched in this stuff, but we might have some viewers who don't even know the basics of what a circuit is, for instance. Do you know what I mean? So like we might need to.
Let's go from the top. Let's go from the top, and we'll light up an LED. All right, we'll light up from the top and light up an LED. All right, so if I switch to, let's see if this works. Hold on, table and face. Is this going to work? Yeah, that is cute. That's amazing.
So it has different bell tracks on it that I put on. But
that build is still.
I'm still happy with it.
It needs to be. This should be in a museum.
You know what? That's my dream job is to be the guy that makes museum pieces. If I could do that for a living, I would completely be in my happy space. That's the challenge, is making a living from it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, basic circuits. Let's jump into it real quick. I'm going to try everything I can not to sound like a teacher or a boring, lecture and so on.
Yep.
All right.
And
so,
which little circuit board have you got there?
I've got a Conway board.
Is that
Conway
one of these?
Castle? No, that's a reed switch, and it's a green. These are black. These are all black ones.
Oh,
and on the back, there's a little picture of a castle, and it says Conway Castle. It
That's
may
a
be in the
Conway.
puzzle kit.
Yep, got you. Yep, got it. So
Yep,
just snap one of these off.
Yeah. All the boards I make have little like line art pictures on them and so on. Okay, so before we start hooking this up, I'm going to explain how this works real quick, just so for everybody to catch up. How do we do this? Okay, so everybody knows what a battery is. And let me just try and draw this the right way around. Right, I'm going to draw it like this. And electronically, it has a special symbol that we all like to follow, right? It looks like an equal sign with one line that's longer, which is the higher voltage. And every battery on the planet has a positive side and a negative side. And I'm trying to find one here to hand. For once, I can't find one to hand, but bear with me. So even on a CR2032, which is hairdryer John's favorite, hairdryer John's favorite battery, right? Hairdryer John.
They're saying
Hairdryer
you're
John's
muted,
got
Colin.
no hair.
Am I muted?
No, I'm muted.
Oh, okay.
I let Ben, he was like, I'm bored, I'm out of here. And I was like, yep, peace out.
So this CR2032 battery, I'm trying to shine it exactly the right way, but there's like a 2-second delay for me. You can see a little positive sign. That's the positive, and that makes the other side the negative, right? If you pick up a 9-volt battery, the old big square ones that all our toys used to run on, same thing, positive and negative. And we have an LED, right? An LED, I'm going to draw it like this, because that's how the symbol electronically looks. And there's something actually in the symbol that kind of makes sense as well. And, little light waves come off it and they shine and so on. LEDs only let current flow in one direction. Current is basically, just like voltage. There's a little graphic here of, the volts are what push the current of amps through the wires and so on. So your LED takes current to light up. The more current you push, the brighter it gets. So one of the tricks I do with this little Conway board is use this little control knob here to change the amount of current that's going through an LED. Oh. You push too much current and it'll get too bright. Now, we're going to cheat a little bit here and light up an LED just as... Whose hands are they?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. So let's go back to table and face. I am now lighting up an LED, and what I've done is basically connected that, right? And in fact, if I, I'll show you the cool animated
which
graphics
direction
in just a minute.
Which direction
Right.
does the current go?
So watch this. Right, the current goes from the positive through the LED and out. But if I turn this LED around,
it's not going to light up.
it's not going to light up, right? And the hint is actually in the symbol, right? It's a triangle that lets current go one way, but it blocks current going the other. So step one, you're hooking up LEDs and it doesn't light up. Try turning the LEDs around. Right? It could be a very simple miswire. Now, LEDs, before you cut their legs, have a long wire and a short wire. Oh, sorry, just dropped it. Right? The long wire is more positive. It's more optimistic, if you will, and the short wire. So if I now take the positive side of the battery, push it to there, you see it lights up. But if I put the short wire leg onto the battery, nothing. Lights up, doesn't light up. How are we doing on chat here?
Everyone's sitting, studying and learning, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a little bit of work, but once you get it, all this is going to start rewarding you greatly.
So,
Now,
I mean, just on that point is that if anyone at any point has any questions for Dafydd in the chat, do not hold
Throw
back.
them up there.
Just throw all the questions.
So with that, if any of you watched Hairdryer John's videos, he's going to kill me for calling him that. It's a running joke, right? We got him a hairdryer sticker that, he doesn't need a hairdryer. So the amount of current that's flowing from the battery right now is actually limited by the battery itself. Most batteries don't have this limitation, but these CL2032 batteries, which are a favorite in our hobby, they're built crappily, they're built cheaply, right? And so they can only push a certain amount of current. And as this battery dies, as this battery starts to run out, this LED will get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer as it loses its capability to drive current. Okay, so we talked about that. Now, if I had a 9-volt battery, or if I tried hooking this up directly to a 5-volt USB power supply, this LED would go the way of the dodo very, very, very quickly, right? Because we're not limiting the current. It would just be like this. It would be like trying to stand up in front of the ocean where a massive wave comes in, right? You wouldn't stand a chance. It would just blow you over and blow the LED. So let's take it now and say, okay, what does a Conway do? This is a Conway Castle board. And in our picture here, it kind of sits here to control the current. But not only that, it takes it and says, hey, I'm going to control the same amount of current to 4 LEDs all at the same time. I'm running out of paper space here before my face gets in the way. Right, so now I have 4 LEDs that I can light up in parallel. And as I turn this knob, I can control the current that goes to each LED up and down, and as such, vary the brightness. And that's going to be pretty important because as you add different colors, let's say you have green LEDs, and in fact, let's hook it up. Let's make this a little more interactive.
I have a quick question, Dafydd.
Please.
So whenever you put the LEDs directly on the battery like that, is that the maximum output of the LED?
Yes, of the battery.
But in terms of light, I mean, in terms of brightness?
No, you can go higher.
Okay.
You can go higher. So LEDs are typically characterized not by the maximum amount of light, but the maximum amount of current that they can support. I know that sounds crazy or more complex than it needs to be, but the reason for that is that depending on the color of LED and depending on the LED construction, 10 milliamps might make it really bright, or 10 milliamps might make it really dim, right? You take an LED from a children's toy from the early 80s, and you got to pump a lot of current into it to get to be dim. You buy LEDs now, and it takes a 10th or a 20th of what it used to take, and they will burn your retina out. So LEDs are typically characterized for a maximum of 20 milliamps. That seems to be like an industry standard, for lack of a better term. So let me show you what we're going to do here. We are going to hook up a couple of LEDs to a Conway board and get this thing to light up like a Christmas tree.
Nice.
And so I am getting, can you guys see my, yes, you can.
This is where I failed. I got a wire wrap tool, but I didn't get the wire.
Oh, Michael. Next week. There's always next week.
I got the wrong kind of wire. I thought I just had wire. I was just like, oh, wire is wire, isn't it?
So this wire wrap wire is very special. Forgive me for this. You didn't see that from me, okay? You didn't see me strip it with my teeth. So
my mother, a
wire,
dentist, just shuddered. No.
So this wire wrap tool is very, very narrow, and it's a single core. I'm not sure if that makes any sense. Any of you that have looked at like electrician's wire and so on has lots of these all kind of running together in the cable, and you have to twist them together and stuff. But what's magical about this stuff is if you use a wire wrap tool, I'm trying to show it on screen at the same time here.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to hold the wire wrap tool up to the camera so people can see what it is.
Oh, yes, please. So you guys are using a slightly different one for me. That one's in my lab, in my garage. So I've put the wire in here into this special wire wrap tool. And what I'm going to do is take my LED, and red normally denotes positive. I'm going to put the LED in here as well, and I want you to watch this. Ready? A couple of twists.
Can you hold it a little bit lower down on the camera because it's your
my face is in the way.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm rotating it, and now I've electrically connected this wire to the LED. Pretty darn tight. For prototyping, this is awesome. And to give you guys a little perspective, this is the technology that sent America to the moon, right? Entire parts of the Apollo space mission were wire wrapped using this technology. So it's strong. Look, I'm pulling on it. The wire will snap before the connection will. So that's my red, right? That's my positive. I'm gonna grab a black wire I have here. Zane, tell your mother to look away.
Look away!
Mother, look away! Mom, the meatloaf. Okay. And once again, let me make sure I'm in range. I'm going to put the black on the short leg of the LED. Down we go. And twist, 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 twist.
This is so much better than soldering.
Oh. Now, eventually you would drop a blob of solder on here, right? Just to make things super strong, right? Or hot glue or something to give it a little more mechanical strength. But to get you started, to make sure your room is working.
Test it.
Yeah, test it and so on. This is brilliant, right? So there we go. I now have my red connected, my black connected to the positive and negative lead, but I haven't connected anything to the other side. All right, so now I need to... Zane, look away. I've got two front teeth, one for the red, one for the black.
So why are you not using your wire wrap tool to strip the wires? That's what I want to know.
You can. My one doesn't have that little bit in the middle.
Okay.
The ones you guys have, and one of you can hold it up. There's a little hole in the middle that you can, kind of put the wire through and pull. There we go. That little black widget next to the screw. You put the wire through, pinch and pull, and it'll strip it beautifully for you. Okay, let's talk about the Conway boards real quick.
I mean, just going to say that, because I don't have the right wires and stuff today, it looks like I'm going to be on chat duties as you guys solder shit.
Please.
All right, carry on.
All right, so let me get my wee little pointer here. This is a Conway board. We've talked about these a fair bit by now, and let me make sure I'm within scene here. There we go. Sorry, I'm not terribly experienced with doing video like this. So here's your USB connector. And as I mentioned earlier, I love USB because there's plenty of power and it just keeps on trucking. But if you did want to bring in, a little battery pack, hairdryer John style, you can actually solder that in on these 2 points by here, and you'll see it says positive and negative right there, just above them. So what we're going to do, there's 4 channels of outputs on a Conway board. We're going to wire up the positive around the top one, and the negative line around one of the bottom ones. So Zane, you've already done this once. Colin, does that make any sense to you?
I'm still working on figuring out how to strip my wire over here. But the good thing is, I just stripped my wire, so I finally figured that out.
Colin's a stripper.
Yeah, this is something we knew.
It was a matter of time, right?
It was a matter of time before I returned to my old profession. Okay, so we have that little bit. Now, did you cut the wire off before stripping? Did you cut your stuff off before?
Yes. Yeah. I cut like a 5-inch, stream.
Okay.
And this reel of wire is $10, right? I mean, this will. And there's enough here that, if my son has any inkling for electronics, which he doesn't right now, but, it'll be passed on to him one day. Unless I do a Zorb and build a massive, massive piece of terrain with miles. Ooh. Anyway. So, yeah, I cut, 5-inch, something like that.
Perfect.
You could do whatever.
That's perfect.
But, yeah, strip both ends, wire wrap on. Now, there's some great tutorials on YouTube, which I didn't make, on how to use a wire wrap tool. There is a bit of a knack to it, but once you've kind of done it once or twice, you're like, oh, what's all the fuss about? And off you go, right? So when you're using a wire wrap tool, let me see if I can get a good image of this. I'm gonna hold my hand still because my camera has a 2-second lag on it. Are you going the right way? No, other way. Sorry, guys, you get to see my awful fingernails as well.
You're all right. Boom.
Focus.
All right, there's actually two holes.
Yep.
In the tip of a wire wrap tool. There's the main hole in the middle, and then there's one slightly off to the side.
Yep.
And what you want to do is put the wire in the one that's slightly off to the side, and the thing you're attaching it to in the middle hole. So, for instance, let me. Here's my, gosh, this is really, really difficult to do like this. Hold on. Okay. Am I getting it right? Again, this is so much easier to do in person when you're not trying to do it on a camera. But you'll see the wire has not gone into the main hole there. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to find the right zone here.
What length of exposed wire would you have there, Dafydd?
Oh, God. Maybe half-inch. Not long. Not long. A half-inch to an inch. But you'll see there that it's gone down the side, right? And it's actually poking out the side here. So now when I want to attach an LED, let's add this to a red LED. I'm going to put the leg of the LED in the main hole, hold onto the wire a little bit, and start twisting. And what that does is it wraps that thin wire around the leg of the LED in such a way that it actually, the leg of the LED, because it has square edges, those square edges dig into the wire and hold it super tight in place. Hopefully
How far up are you going to the light itself?
I go as close as I can. I go as close as I can because I can snip off the excess then, right? I can snip this off.
But I should strip first and then...
Oh, sorry. I can cut the main legs off, right? But you need to strip the wires.
Yeah, strip the wires, and then I'm trying to figure out which side I see, because there's two ends here. There's the one end that has like a little notch, and the wire, and it has a groove running.
Okay, so you want the one with the notch. The other one is for undoing wire wrapping.
Okay.
Yeah, that got me the first time as well. So you want the one with a notch that looks something like this, right?
You want to see your wire coming through that notch.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to see the wire coming through that notch.
And then you're going to take your leg and put it in the middle hole. And then you're going to bend it, and then you're going to twist the tool.
So maybe you guys can
see, and that's going to attach it.
There.
Yep, I can see the that little notch. Yeah.
Yeah, and you basically want your thin wire, to come out of that notch, right? Because it's going to get wrapped around the main pin of the LED. Yep. So there we go. I've put that on. Again, this is a practice thing. People watching this thinking, I can't do that. Believe me, if I can teach John how to do this, anyone can do it.
Also, Colin, if you need a more visual guide, there's instructions on the packaging that came with.
That's
the
what I was
wire wrap
looking
tool.
at too. I was looking at it too, trying to figure that out. So,
All right.
insert the wire, the small opening. Yep. Yep. The one near the edge. Yep. Bend the wire 90 degrees and hold.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you twist your tool.
God, the innuendo on this broadcast is killing me.
Oh, it's
Innuendo.
amazing. Oh, hi.
What's innuendo?
Innuendo? Isn't that a Queen album? All right. So I am a couple of steps ahead of you guys, not too many, I hope. Let me switch off my body cam here so you're not looking at my gut. There we go. And I'm going to wire wrap onto the Conway board now. Now, again, the first time you do this, you'll curse, you'll say, why did I spend good money on a tool like this? And then it'll click, I promise you. So on a Conway board, the bottom row is your low-level signal. So it's going to be, kind of black or greens, that kind of thing, the short leg of the LED. And I twist, and it's on. Okay. And then I'm going to take the positive one, which I've put on. I put it in orange for this one because I don't like wasting wire, even though there's enough wire to sink a battleship. There we go. And I twist that on. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Michael, how am I doing here? I need you to tell me if I'm going too fast or...
It looks great on... I'm
straight.
following. Put it that way.
Okay, so as you can see here, I made orange my positive and green my negative here, and they're going to the LED.
Yeah.
So, smoke test, right? So all these boards, I test them here before I ship them, right? So you're not going to get a board that never worked before. So I'm going to plug it in, and let me hold the LED in my hand here, so you guys can see if it lights up or not. Survey says we have a lit LED.
Computer says
it's lit.
Computer says yes. Computer says you may
Yay.
go and hold it. All right. So now, itsy bitsy screwdriver comes along and washes down the spout. Now, by rotating this little knob here, I can change the brightness of the LED. Now, the challenge here is that the camera is going to compensate. It's an iPhone, so it's. But if I turn it the other way, you can see that brightness is going up and up and up, and now I've got fingers glowing, like a practical movie effect. But that's one of the tricks that makes it really nice. Now, if you turn this pot beyond 8 or 9 o'clock, you're actually going up into the kind of very high power region of the LED, and the LED may not like it or may not last very long. That's your mileage may vary. There depends on the LEDs you're using as well.
Okay.
But you can go bananas.
I'm sold on this wire wrap tool.
Oh yeah,
How are you getting on there,
so
Colin?
I know how to strip wire, which is good, and cut the wire. I'm still trying to figure out I know where the wire is getting inserted to, but then it's once the wire is once the wire is inserted and it's feeding out through the stripped wire down through that little hole at the top.
Bear with me. I am just going to go get my version of the exact same tool.
Yep.
Can you still hear us, Dafydd?
Yes. Yeah. You're getting it to my cell phone.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the Conway board here. So basically, this services 4 LEDs, right?
4 LEDs. 4 LEDs in its most basic version. There's ways of getting more, but baby steps, right? Baby steps. There's a way of hacking it to get a few more channels.
Like for my water tower build, I used more than 4 on it.
So in the pack that you sent us, you also sent us a USB cable.
Oh, I did. That was nice of me.
Yes.
And so that goes into the Conway board.
Well, yes. So that USB cable was actually designed to go for the programmer, so that you could do cool stuff next week.
So if you weren't going to use a USB connection into this Conway board, is there a way to do it with just a straight battery?
Yes. So
That's what I did.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what John loves to do, right? Because he can't stand hiding USBs. You know, if you're only going to light like 4 LEDs or whatever, just use one of the little coin cells into a Conway, right? I mean, ain't no shame in that. Okay, so Colin.
Yep.
You have one of the tools that looks like this.
Sir, right? I do. That's the one.
And that's the one I actually recommend. It's on Amazon. It's about $18-20, something like that.
Yep.
Which is a lot for a tool, but you know, these things are built like, you know, rocking horse muck, right? They're not going anywhere, right? So, and there's 2 ends to it, right? There's a short end here. Ignore that for now. You're doing nothing with the short end. It's all
nothing
about
with the short end. It's all about this.
Yeah,
it's all about the long end,
It's all about
baby.
the long end. Oh gosh, the innuendo flows. Okay, and so I'm not sure if you can see my what I'm streaming to you, Colin.
I see it.
Yep. And so maybe this will be easier to see. Wire strip. There we go. I'm taking
little
wire
lower
here.
Little lower.
Sorry.
You're all right.
I'm terrible at this. There's a 2-second latency, which
there you go.
drives me bananas.
Up a little. There you go. Right there.
Okay. So I'm gonna bend the wire.
Yep.
The way I stripped it.
Okay. 90 degrees,
comes
right?
Down. Yeah, 90 degrees. I'm going to bring it down into the wire rack tool.
And where's that getting fed right now?
It's coming out the little hole on the side. It goes in through the top and out through the little hole on the side.
Okay. Is it, and it just goes straight down? It's not going down the groove yet? That long groove is for the...
Yeah. It can go down the groove in the side. That's what it's for,
okay.
Kind of thing. You know, if you want miles of wire, it's no problem. Right?
Great.
And at which point, let me grab I need something to screw it onto. We'll just put it on this LED, right?
Okay.
So there we go. I put the LED down the main leg here. I'm holding all the wires in place with one hand. I'm not sure if you can see that yet.
So when you put the LED down the leg, what does that mean?
It goes in the main hole. It goes down the main hole. There's a main big hole in the middle of the of the tool.
Okay.
You won't see it go down the side.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my problem. I'm trying to go down that.
Nope, that's only for the wire, not the LED wire.
Okay.
So inside the tip, maybe the best way to describe it, inside the tip of a wire wrap tool, there's 2 holes. There's one big one and one small one.
Yep. There it is. I got it. I had trouble finding the right hole. That's all.
Oh Lord, I can't.
I've got it now, though. That's what friends are for.
Oh god.
How can you find the right hole?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So there's 2 holes. The big one's for the leg that you want to connect to, and the small one's for the wire. And I'm waiting for you here, Colin, to be like, oh, yes, I get it. I can do this.
It's gonna be. I think we're coming right now. So now I've got it in the big. I've got it in the right hole. Now help me entangle it around the big hole.
Okay, so you got wire in the little hole. You got the component leg in the main hole. Now twist like you've never twisted before.
I can't.
Just like you did last summer.
Exactly. Feels like
so
an old Keith Richards
When you say
song.
twist,
turn the handle. And what you're doing is dragging that thin wire around the leg. Yeah. So if you look at Colin, if you look at my feed, or whatever, I'm going to put it over the negative leg here.
In this case, you want to be negative.
Yes. I'm so negative. Let me get that in there. Okay, and I'm just going to turn the handle. And what that does is drag the thin wire around the leg of the component and makes a connection. And as a consequence, I now have 2 LEDs connected to my Conway board. So let's see how they light up together now. Oh, wait, that came off. Hold on, may have to add that again.
Lisa's telling
It's
me
not
to
indestructible.
behave.
You can blame me. I've got broad shoulders.
I think we need to rename this stream after we're done. Who knew electronics was dirty?
No, anyone who's done a degree in it. Okay.
But when I wrap my wire, it looks like it's wrapping around the other negative end, because I'm still working on the positive end. It still looks like it's going to wrap around.
Shouldn't do.
Okay.
You're going to have to go way up close to the camera to show me. Let's plug this in.
I know. Let's see here. I'm going to move it over here. Let me transition back over here, buddy, so you can see.
So you can see from my feed now.
All right. I'm going to come in from here. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you.
I cannot pinch zoom.
It's okay. So, here's my wire.
Yeah.
Here's my bent wire.
Yeah.
Okay. My 800 yards of bent wire that I do not need stripped. I'm inserting it from the top.
Yeah. Down the side slot.
Down the side slot. Down.
Yeah. And hold it with your finger once it's there. Just hold it, like give it a little bit of friction.
So now it's down.
Yeah.
Here on the side.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
But
and you're holding it. It's not going to slide out now, right? You need to hold it with your finger just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of friction.
I'm holding it.
Okay. Now grab your LED leg.
Firmly grasp it.
I've grasped it.
Lord.
I've firmly grasped it. Now I'm putting that in the big hole.
In the big hole. And just press them together to begin with and hold it in place. And then
now,
move back up to the camera so we.
Okay, so there they are. This
Brilliant.
Is,
okay. Now hold your LED in one hand. Hold your LED with one hand.
Yep.
And start rotating the handle of the tool.
Clockwise or counterclockwise? It doesn't
matter. Don't matter. It should be fine.
I'm not mature.
Keep going. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And what you should see is that the wire that you had coming out of the wire wrap tool, you know, like that you put in and come out the side channel there, should be getting thinner and shorter and shorter as it wraps around the leg of the LED.
Oh shit! I did it.
Yeah, yes.
No, that's perfect. That is perfect. Now I get it.
So you're essentially, yeah. Go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, it's perfect. It's once it's down there. I just didn't understand. All I had to do, I wasn't turning. That's the only thing I wasn't doing right. I just wasn't turning it.
Okay.
And I think I wasn't holding. I think I wasn't holding the wire in place. And with that little,
got to give it a little bit of friction.
Just a little bit of friction.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna get it just causes the wire to be held back as it bends around.
Yep.
Bends around and around.
Here we go, and we're turning. We're doing the negative side now. There goes fed up through, and it is negative and positive are attached.
So this is awesome. Basically, now Colin knows how to use a wire wrap tool. Scissors, on the other hand, is an entirely different story.
Yeah, that and rulers still, like, it's all up in the air. But hey, wire wrap tools, one thing at a time.
Dwayne Stanton says the problem, Colin, is that you're left-handed. I'm left-handed. I have no problems. So
yeah, easy there, Dwayno, easy there.
So a great question came in from Sal Gwynn.
Yes.
He says, as long as you're using these components, will anything break if the circuit is wired up wrong? Theoretically, no. And I can explain why. So for instance, if I take a screwdriver and short two of these pins, oh Lord, in theory, this should be fine. If I'm wrong, there's always another one in the garage. Yeah, nothing's happening, right? I can actually switch off the LED by shorting this. Ready? Here we go. I can switch the red LED off. Oh, let me do it to the blue one so it's under camera. Look at this. With a screwdriver, I am shorting things and making the blue LED switch off. Here we go. Come on. No, it's not cooperating. Obviously, I must have a crappy screwdriver that's not conductive metal or something. But yes, you can short these, right? And the way the board is designed, it'll never allow you to dump the entire battery in one short circuit zap, right? You're dealing with USB here, right? If you've ever held a USB cable, I've never had a shock from a USB cable before. And so
you haven't had fun. No. You haven't lived. No.
But yeah, I mean, you should be able to short these, and they should be fine. In fact, let me try it with a proper wire then.
Did I wire this backwards?
There we go. Right. So you can see there. Hopefully, I've actually managed to switch the blue LED off. Nothing is getting super hot right now. Nothing is going crazy. It's just switched off.
At the very beginning of the stream, whenever you were switching the LED from one side of the battery to the other, and it's the same thing effectively, right?
Well, what I did there was short circuit it, which
right.
If you were just using a battery, the battery would start getting quite warm.
Yep.
Right, but that means basically, if we go back to our drawing, what I just did, go back to our drawing here. What I essentially did was short circuit this, right? I made a wire across there and there. Now, if there was a battery on the other side of this, you'd end up with lots of current there, and the battery would get hot, and things can go pop and things like that. But because there's a Conway board here, the Conway board basically says, whatever you do here, the maximum you'll ever pull is 10 milliamps or 20 milliamps, which is well within the range of what the battery can provide. So it's kind of like a limiter, like an automatic brake, right? That'll limit the power that you're wasting and so on. So back to your question, you couldn't damage it. I think the only way you could maybe is if you hooked up your battery pack. So let's say we talked about adding battery packs instead of USB, because these battery packs are so much smaller, is hooking up these pins on the battery pack, soldering them incorrectly here and here. So you have to take care with that, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next few minutes once Colin has mastered wire wrapping. But have you got LEDs lighting up?
I mean, okay, so I've got that. I've got. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Look pretty happy with yourself.
I mean, I'm very happy with myself. So now, once I've got these wrapped, where do the positive and the negative
on a Conway board? And in fact, let me show you. On the website, right? You go to the shop. There's a link to the instruction manual.
Oh,
and you'd be surprised how many people don't go find this, which is frustrating because I write the damn thing.
You mean me?
There's a whole thing on, kind of how LEDs work as simplified as possible, all this kind of stuff. This is the bit. This is the drawing that you want, right? Positive anode, negative cathode. Don't worry about the anode and cathode words. Just think about positive and negative.
Okay.
The top row here, that is nearest to the USB connector, where your positive legs connect to.
Okay, so top row, connect it to
top
that.
Row, yeah, the longest leg of your LED, essentially.
Okay.
And then, and I recommend doing this without it being powered. So, disconnect your Conway board while you're doing this.
It's not connected to the Conway board is by itself.
Yeah. Leave it unpowered until everything's settled and then plug it back in.
So when you say connect it, Dafydd, you're talking about just connecting wire wrap it. Gotcha.
Yeah, wire wrap it. So you can see in my stream, here we go. For this blue LED where I had the red wire on the long leg of the LED, the positive leg, and the black on the negative leg, I've wire wrapped them down onto the pins. Let me see if I can bring that up.
So I need to do the positive on the top row facing the USB connector, and then
and
the negative one, is it the one associated directly in line with the positive?
Yes.
Great.
Yes. there's always hacks and things like that, but I'm trying to keep it as, take my yes as a yes for now.
Copy that.
Copy that.
Okay. Tina wants to know where I got that blue. I'm assuming you mean the wire wrap tool, and I believe it was Amazon, right?
It's Amazon.
Yeah,
There's a link. I've done a video on it on YouTube, and so has Hairdryer John. And there should be links there to it. And I'll also actually, I've got a second here. Why don't I just
I will say it's very handy. This is my first time using it, so
yeah. Now that I know how to use it, I'm in.
That was my complaint to Dafydd I keep saying your name wrong. I'm sorry.
That's a V sound, not an F. That's fine.
David. Anyways,
David.
That was my complaint to you when I was doing the water wheel. I was like, it was a little hard to work and get the wires attached to the board, but using the wire tool, it's simple as hell.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. That's the compared to soldering, wire wrapping is so much simpler. So I keep and I'm going to copy paste this into the YouTube chat as well. Send it. So this is a kind of electronic starter kit. This is the stuff I get, and it's all Amazon based. It's all, these are where I get my parts from, essentially, for doing different things.
That you're sending, David?
Yes.
If you send a link to the Instagram chat, then I can post a live link instead of one they need to copy and paste.
Okay, to our Instagram chat, right?
Yep. Yeah, and then then it's clickable.
All right, let me Instagram chat.
Now I will say, Michael, the wire I'm using is multi-strand wire. Like, it's not a single core wire, and it's still working. But
yeah,
did you just twist it?
Yeah, I just twisted it so it was a single thing. But my wire is super thin. I don't know how thick your wire is.
I was gonna say that it has to be pretty thin.
It has to be pretty thin.
It's a low gauge wire.
Yeah, and on top of that as well, it won't grip as well longer term.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hold. So the thing about wire wrap is you've got this very thin wire being dragged across the square side corners of a pin, right? And that digs in, right? And that digging in is what holds it in place so well that they could send guys to the moon with it. And so,
okay.
yeah, it's just.
For the sake of this, it'll work.
I've got it wrapped up.
Exactly.
I've got it wrapped up to the Conway board here.
Plug it in.
Oh.
Plug it into the USB.
Oh, do I have any USB power? That's the question. Do I have something USB to connect it to?
The PC?
No, the front. So when I installed my PC, that connector. Oh, I just snapped the Conway board in half.
Oh,
but there's two of them there. There's two of them.
Oh, great. Well, then that's meant to be that way. That's great. I meant to do that. I divided the Conway board in two. No big deal, like I was supposed to.
How did you manage to do that?
Anyway,
it's surprising how many people ask. They get the Conways, and I build them in a panel, just so you see like how the sausage is made here. So I make them in a panel like that. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. And so, I kind of snap the board in half after testing and then snap them along. So you basically get like two boards connected together. Sometimes you'll get like, ones at a time where, the next one next to it was failed or broken or something. But, you get them like this and people go, I only got one board. And I'm like, have you tried snapping it in half, to get the... And so anyway, I digress.
People like those Brezzy men.
Yep.
Exactly.
I'm really glad I didn't break that Conway Castle board. I have two!
You do have two.
I'm excited.
Now, if you want to use one of these, you don't use the USB. You go to the little battery symbol in the middle of the board.
Yes, exactly. We'll come to that in a minute.
Right. That was actually a question I had, and now I can see that. Yep. That makes sense. But that's still...
And that's also covered in the documentation as well. So, it's a little bit of RTFM going on there.
You guys got documentation?
It's
on the web. It's all on the web. It's all on the web.
This is tech
Where
stuff.
are your
We don't get
papers?
paper.
Where are your papers, please?
Now, the other thing you can do is on that list of parts, I have, let me see, these kinds of wires.
Hold on, bub.
I'm not sure. Let me jump to a face and table.
Bring me the white iPhone brick.
So these kinds of wires are quite useful. They're called DuPont wires after the French company that initially released them. These don't need wire wrapping. Maybe we should have started with these. But they're not. Yeah, you just slide them onto the pins.
No, it's good. We learned the wire wrapping tool. This is good.
Yeah. No, wire wrapping is so much better for actual builds, right? That's the difference. Okay, so is this going to work for me? Is this one going to work? Or is this one going to be a butthead?
All right, moment of truth here. Let's see.
Will that
that is
battery
glowing
pack
a little.
support either both? Yes, it will cross. Nice.
So that's one of the flexible ones, and I'm connecting it here with DuPont wire. So the connectors are already on there. But the DuPont wires are great for prototyping, but if you're going to put it into a build, wire wrap every time.
Is it
So that
supposed
is
to
right
be
now
burn? Are the wires supposed to be burning my hands as I'm holding them?
No.
I'm just kidding. It's not burning my hands, but I do have power.
Is it lighting up?
It is. It's lighting up. Look. It's got a light. Now, it's being lit up from a portable, like, cell phone or like e-device charger, but this thing is, like, it's not recharged. So it's only coming out very dim right now, but I suspect that's the way it should be, yeah?
You can turn the thing, and the other thing is that a lot of those battery packs, a lot of these battery packs, if you don't pull enough power from them, they shut off after a while.
Yeah, that's what it does. It does that about after 60, not even 60 seconds.
Yes, exactly. It's a 30-second timer, right? So the way we get around that on a Conway board is if you look at the Conway board, there's a space for a resistor.
Yes.
And you can solder in a resistor there, and it's a really inefficient way of fooling the battery power pack into thinking, oh, I'm charging a phone. I'm not charging anything else.
So I'm using directly a old iPhone brick and plugging it in, and it worked.
Colin, have you tried turning the current knob to make the...
That's what I was gonna say. Where's the current knob? Is it the
It's the blue and
white thing.
Yep. And then how do you turn it? You just turn it.
Little screwdriver, or I mean, you can.
Turn it clockwise.
I just use my hand, and it got brighter. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, we have all the power. Oh, it shut off again because battery. But yeah, look at that. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, so Mr. Conway board. If
you use a wall-powered battery pack, they tend to they don't switch off. They don't switch off after a certain time. Whereas the battery packs do tend to. It also depends on the battery pack. I've had a lot of success with cheap battery packs, like the dollar store ones. For some reason, that they don't want to pay for the extra circuitry to automatically switch it off, so they just keep on going until they run out of battery. So there we go. Boom! Look at that, disco lights with Dafydd. Right? That's
this is super rad. So now I could connect up to 4 LEDs to the single Conway board. And we can use that to populate whatever. You can feed those wires depending on the length and where you needed them to go into the build, wherever you want it.
Right, exactly. So you want to do like wall sconces? Is that the word? A sconce, on the wall, or
it sounds like a delicious. It sounds like scones. I'm hungry. Anyway, But yes, the sconces, you could do the sconces there. You could do all sort, dude, like that. This is super rad. And now it's about finding a place for this to live and breathe.
And, that's half the challenge, actually. I find a lot of folks, once they have their aha moment of, oh my goodness, I can do so much with this, and then they use it in a couple of places. It's breathtaking how people have used these Conway boards. There was an example recently on John's Discord, where there's a competition for Patreons to make terrain, of course, like a craft off. And this guy Nate made a building that was an apothecary that could convert into a tavern. And it was basically he had magnets in the furniture, and when he moved the furniture from one place to another, the lighting and everything changed in the room.
That's so cool.
And it was
that the one that won?
I think it won, right? Yeah, it had to have won.
Yeah. It was really better than anything I could have thought of, frankly.
So, Dafydd, I mean,
yes,
I
sir.
have used strings of LEDs before, right, without a Conway board.
Yeah.
Which obviously that means that you can't control the different light. It's basically one light the whole way through. So can you, because you're going to explain it way better than I can, just explain the difference between a circuit that's in parallel as opposed to series? Because that was one of the things that I found.
I can explain that. In fact, I do on my latest video, I actually explained this. It was more to do with reed switches, but the theory was the same.
Yeah.
I'll draw that. Just give me 10 seconds here, just to wire up the rest of this sign, because I want to show you.
It was something that was for me a little bit of trial and error, because I ran my LEDs in a series at first, and then they were all burning out and dying really, really quickly. And then whenever I ran them in parallel, they seemed to last a bit longer.
That's
and they were also equally bright, if you know what I mean.
Yes, they will be. They will be then. So this is right now I'm running a Conway board. I've got a blue LED by here, I've got a red LED by here, and I've also got this sign that those of you that follow me on Instagram may have seen earlier this week. This is for a cyberpunk build that I'm working on. And what we actually have here is two LED strips. There's a red one down here, and then hold on, there's a blue one by here. I'm waiting for my camera to update. Sorry, there's a bit of delay on it. And so it causes this beautiful sort of magenta, pinkish, bluish hue throughout it. But if you imagine kind of cyberpunk or Neo Tokyo type effects, I think that's pretty cool. And you could drive two signs like this easily from a Conway board. So you hide it in the building. And then in the exterior of your building could be a sushi restaurant and a restaurant of some kind, another kind of restaurant. Right.
So Bill could have used that a couple of weeks ago for his cyberpunk build. Although he integrated. I don't know if you saw that video. He did a fantastic job. He integrated just old cell phone that had the electronic billboard. And I was like, that's a great way to repurpose an old phone.
It is a great way of repurposing an old phone. I have a prototype of a small Arduino screen for the same purpose, where it'll have images for that, and then I'm going to use string LED around it, right, like the ones you saw, but like flexible ones, so that it kind of looks more like a nightclub or disco. All right, so let me see here.
We've got about. Go ahead, Zane.
I had missed a comment from Cross a while back. He said, Zane Morgan Crafts is likely to build 3D printed pieces which can turn the potentiometer on the Conway. That would be helpful if there's no electric throughput adjustment. So I actually thought about for the water wheel videos, including a dial that comes out of the board somewhere, so I could turn the Conway board brightness without having to open up the piece and do it. So
Yeah.
that is in the
I
wheelhouse.
mean, you could always do what we used to do with the old TVs. Do you remember the old manual detune TVs? They used to have like a little plastic rod
Yes.
Yep.
that you would, and then bring that out. That's perfectly doable as well.
Dafydd, can I show you something real quick?
Yes, please.
Ready? Zane's mom. Everyone, look away.
He's doing it with his teeth. He's doing it with his teeth. I could
There it
It's
is.
the leaded wires. No.
There it is. I stripped it.
All right.
And when you did it, I was just like, I wonder if I could do that real quick. And in some ways, it's quicker. When the first time I did it, I got a nice big ol' strip of it off. The second time, of course, when I tried to show it off, I failed, but that's okay.
What's nice about this wire is you can strip them by hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the other, I will say
Yeah,
this
I
though,
wouldn't
too.
do that with kitchen wire or cooker wire.
No, I'm the thing. No, we don't condone putting wires in your mouth and stripping it with your teeth here on this stream. I will say this: that little wire wrapping tool, like you said, you were not wrong. It is worth its weight in gold for sure. That thing is awesome.
Yep.
So,
All right, what are we doing now? What are we doing now?
yeah, I'm going to show you guys real quick. This question came in from Michael there about serial versus parallel and all that kind of thing, right? So, for instance, I use this tool because it helps me visualize in it. Yeah, great little teaching tool. Here's a Conway Castle. Here's our USB power bank or whatever kind of battery. I've made it into 3 volts because that's a coin cell battery. And sure enough, LED lights up, right? Happy as Larry, we're good. But so if I wanted to put 2 of these in a line, one after the other, let me grab one of these.
This is cool. What you've got going on here.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
This tool is awesome. I'm gonna drag this in here, make sure it's connected.
Oh wow! What is this? What is this program you're using?
It's a website, but Falstad. That's how I remember it. Sorry, I should do a better job of promoting somebody else's work here. But what's nice about it is it shows conventional flow of electricity. Now look at this, right? The battery is only 3 volts.
Yep.
And it's not enough to overcome the voltage required by 2 LEDs.
Right. Yes.
Right, because each LED has a voltage drop. In this case, it doesn't say it in the model here, but it's typically 1.8 volts or so for a red LED.
Yep.
So you'd need to get both LEDs on at least, let's say 4 volts, which would be near USB territory. Watch this. Ready?
So
come on.
you need a higher volt battery, obviously. Then.
Yeah, yeah, to make them light up. You see that light up there. And so the advantage of going parallel instead. So that's series,
that's
right?
Series.
So they go. That's series. That goes one into the other, right?
Yeah.
When we go parallel, let me move this up. There we go. We'll connect that to that. Connect that to that. Connect that to that, and that to that. Now we're in parallel. Start the sim. No lights. Now we have lights. Right? That's parallel. We're putting lights in parallel. And so a Conway board kind of does this, but it's actually a separate channel for each one. Now, if you did have, and I think, Zane, did you do this, or was it John, where they had a higher battery pack voltage? They had like a 6-volt battery, I think it was, like stacked.
I typically use 6 volts.
Yeah. So now you can do things in series because you've actually got enough voltage to overcome. Hold on. So again, voltage is like water pressure, right? You need the water pressure to push the water through the pipes. And so now I've got plenty of voltage there, 6 volts, which is enough to switch on 2 red LEDs.
Okay. So,
But if I change that to white or blue, I may struggle.
So, but a quick question then on terms of longevity of the output of the battery, which is better? Like parallel is generally better, right?
Parallel is going to
with a series circuit.
No, not necessarily. It depends. If let's say you had a 9-volt battery, right, a 9-volt PP3 square battery, and you wanted to light up 3 red LEDs, right? 1.8 volts per LED, roughly, maybe 2, times 3. So you're doing it in series. You need 6 volts across those LEDs, right? That's going to be more efficient to do it that way than in parallel. So if you've got like a way bigger battery voltage, then the number of LEDs, do it that way. Otherwise, do them in parallel. But the other thing, how do I show this? So conventionally, right, if you're going to do it, let me copy this for a second. Let's start a new window here. And options, give me a circuit that's already done. An LED, come on.
We have a couple questions in the chat once you're done showing us this.
Okay, yeah, just give me a second, sorry.
Just a quick question from Dwayne Stanton. Can you use the outdoor Christmas LED lights, not the entire string, but the individual lights for component resource?
Dwayne, that's a great question. I wouldn't bother. I really wouldn't bother. You know, I'm going to pitch my product here, but you can buy boxes of LEDs from Amazon as well, right? You know, I mainly sell these just to help people feel better about paying for shipping from my own store for stuff that I sell. There's enough LEDs, and there's 200 LEDs in there, and they're the colors that you want and the size that you want. Go nuts, right? I mean, it's way easier to buy it like that than to get something from China where you don't know what other stuff they put in there, like other components and so on. You don't know the resistors they've used and all that kind of thing. You know, it's just, in my mind, way simpler to go back to basics, get the part, wire it up, and off you go.
And it's not, I think you can get a box of LEDs for like $10, which,
yeah, I mean, compared to the time that you're putting into your I would say just buy the LED. You know, buy the box of LEDs. They'll last you a lifetime.
Yep.
So Dungeon Matron asked, do I use resistors to extend battery life? With Conway, I don't. I use, with the Conway boards, I use some circuitry to emulate resistors, but they're variable then. I can change it with one pot and they all change together up and down. So let me draw this real quick for you. LED and a bit of wire. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And we'll make this into a 5 volt. It already is. Okay, so this is a standard LED circuit, right? Battery. This is the symbol for a battery. This is the LED down here. And this is a resistor. And the resistor is there to limit the current, right? So you don't blow your LED to smithereens. You don't send it off into the stratosphere, right? Think of it as a narrow pipe that controls how much water flow is going to go through your LED.
Yep.
And if we increase this value, the LED will get dimmer because the pipe has got narrower. Again, think water flowing down, right? And you can see here on the screen, that LED now is barely a different color from black, right? If I change this to 330, make my pipe wider, boom, nice and bright. Look at that, right? So what Conway is doing is replacing this resistor with a smart circuit that you can control how wide that pipe is across 4 channels with one knob.
Yeah.
With one controller. Okay. So I saw the question there. Do you use resistors to extend battery life? I do not use resistors to extend battery life. I use resistors and circuits to extend the LED life. Because if I didn't, the LEDs, if I'm driving them with anything other than a CL2032, those LEDs will go through the stratosphere. Pop.
How long would they last with that battery there?
Depends on the LED. Depends on the color of the LED. You'd get at least 3 days with it on, but it would get progressively dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer.
What if you're? I'm thinking like, because obviously your game's not going to be like 3 days long. Well, some games might be.
Some games might be.
Like, so say like you have a say you have a 2-hour session or a 3-hour session and you want to use that, and then you bring it out the next week and then you bring it out the next week. Like, I mean, does that affect the life of the battery that way?
Yeah. So the let's have a look here. Yes, but providing you switch it off between games, you know, like if you have a reed switch, for instance, on the side that controls the power, then you're fine, right? And in fact, a lot of these little battery packs have a little power switch on them.
Yep.
Right? That makes it nice and easy. That makes it really nice and easy. And so, yeah, that's a real nice, convenient way. Now, this particular battery pack, I don't like because the wires are silver, both of them.
Yeah.
So you never know which way round. There's a
faint.
That is such a good
lining on
point
it.
because see these battery packs that you sent, Dafydd, these are the ones that I've used in every build I've done on my channel. And that has been the most frustrating thing, is like having to figure out which is the positive and which is the negative.
Right.
Positive is the one with the lines on it.
So one of the things I was going to cover is how you can tell.
I see that, Zane.
But you can see, you know, these battery packs actually have color-coded wires.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which makes life way, way, way easier. So now if I go back to my corner board and I say, hey, I want to use a battery pack that has a nice little on and off switch, so I don't have to carry this, you know, USB power pack around with me. Because, you know, now then, what I can do, let me pull this very gently. I've got lots of wires hanging off this corner now. You'll find hot glue is your friend with these eventually. Is for a pack like this, I can put the red into the positive and solder. And we'll talk about soldering probably next time now. And black here into the negative. Sorry, I'm not sure if that's coming out very well.
We can see you're articulating it as you're doing it.
Right. So if I do that, then I can now power my circuit from a little power bank. And these little power banks, you get like 10 of them for $10. Again, there's no point in me trying to sell these to you guys because Amazon will just beat me in seconds, right? So
I have a pack of them.
Yeah, and they're great. They are great. The only limitation with these batteries is they can't drive a lot of power, right? So, for instance, I've tried them with my LED strings, and they cough and splutter. They limit the brightness I can get with those LED strings.
So a very quick question on these battery packs. Say I want to get more power, and what I've got at the minute is like 2 battery packs like this. Is there a way that I can wire it up that these 2 battery packs work?
You could parallel them. But I haven't tested it. I would feel uncomfortable telling you exactly how to do it. But in theory, you could parallel them. And then that means taking the reds from both sides, taking the blacks from both sides, adding them together. But if I was going to do that, frankly, I would get a pair of AA batteries. Or you know, because you know, they don't have the same inherent flaw.
Yep.
Now, real quick, what I'm doing here is I am putting batteries into this little battery pack. Right, and now I have a 6-volt battery pack. And Michael, this one's for you. I think you asked a question about this earlier.
Yeah.
If these were not colored, right, if these were silver, how would I work out which way they were wired? I could take an LED. I could take a cheap LED, right, and just see, right?
Yeah.
The LED might go puff, so...
That's kind of what I do.
You know,
That's kind of what I do right now.
Yeah, that's the short circuit version, almost literally. And so, for instance, here, if I take this LED, split the legs apart a bit, so it's easy to work with, and boom, LED lights up. Right, yeah. I'm happy with that. Yeah. Okay, that's one way of knowing, right? And you can do it with the silver pack as well. Alternatively, you can use a multimeter like this. And this is the only thing I'm going to touch on the multimeter this week because this is a question I've had before. Now look at that. All right, the multimeter has a little symbol that looks like a little speaker on it. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, or like little Wi-Fi signals or something it looks like. And it also has this little symbol of a triangle and a line on it. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Turn to that.
Okay.
And I'm going to grab the 2 wires here. I'm going to put one on one. Sorry, that's continuity. Let's go back. You want the V line, V with 2 lines on it. Sorry, guys, I took you down the wrong garden path there. The V line, I'm going to hold it around 20. And I'm going to
the
put
V line.
Yeah.
Yes, the 3 dots.
Yeah, that means DC voltage, not AC, not household voltage.
I now have within the V line square. I have 200, 2000, 20, 200, and
20. You're going to be measuring low voltage, right? You're not measuring household voltage or anything like that.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
Okay, and just to show you, I'm holding the between the wire and the probe. I'm just holding it down, and hopefully you guys can see on the screen. It says 6 point something, blah blah blah. Right now, watch this. I'm going to wire it up a different way. I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to take the red to the black and the black to the red. And what's the big difference that you see on the screen?
It's gone minus.
It's gone minus. That means it's the wrong way around.
Right.
Wrong way around. So when you see it without the minus, you know the wire you've got connected to your black probe and the wire you've got connected to your red probe is the right way around. So now I can have confidence in soldering this into my conway. And now I have this little kind of portable conway pack, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys can imagine the hot glue party you could have on that.
Right, that makes total sense.
Wow, we just did engineering 101. I think you guys did more soldering than I did my first year of university.
This is a free course, folks.
I'll be quite honest. I think I might have learned more without being hands-on this evening, and I'm kind of glad I wasn't trying to do stuff at the same time because I was like just absorbing the information, if you know what I mean. So that's very, very cool.
I need to be doing it. Like it's important for me to have to do
seriously,
it.
Seriously, it's practice, right? You'll get to the point with the wire wrapping tool where it's you see every opportunity to use that wire wrapping tool. It's just faster, it's easier, and you just off you go, and it's prototyped up. In this case, if I wanted to build this into terrain now, I probably would have made my wires longer, right, to be able to get into the walls and so on. But I would attack, maybe tap this with solder just to make sure that there's a longer term connection, and then attack the darn thing with hot glue.
Yep.
Right. Once I know it's working, it gets hot glued to hell and back. It ain't going nowhere.
And you can hot glue everything there on the conway, like almost everything, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
At least
I have taken hot glue, make it.
Enough.
The conway's not going to get hot enough to melt the glue ever. Right, so basically you're going to take your glue gun, making sure that it's not powered up, making sure conway's not powered up, put it between the pins and right, just squirt the hot glue in there. It'll hold the wires in place, and you get on with foam and paint.
And that's what I did on my water wheel build too, just to make sure everything was secure.
Nice. Well,
I'm just skimming through looking for questions here. So Wylock would be cool with all of this. Yeah. Wylock does a lot of stuff himself, right? So he likes adding resistors to everything, and that drives me crazy.
So that is actually a good point. I mean, like any time that I've looked at putting something into terrain in terms of lights, then I see some other people doing stuff with resistors and stuff, and I'm like, am I doing it all wrong here?
I don't use them.
But ultimately, if it lights up, it lights up. It's fine, surely.
Yeah, but so again, it's you got to think of current as your waterfall or pipes, plumbing in the system, right? The CR2032 batteries that a lot of us use are flawed. They have basically an integrated resistor.
Yeah.
One that's built in. As soon as you use anything bigger, anything with more power capability, like a AA battery, AAA battery, a USB power bank, anything like that, you end up with too much current flowing, which is going to blow your LED.
So with something like this little battery pack right here,
yep,
Would you say 4 LEDs is probably your maximum output on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so
I would say, you know, if you're going to go for max brightness or near max brightness of the LED within a safe operating limit, yeah, you'd probably run 4 LEDs and no more than that. But you know, there's so much.
Here's another quick question. Sorry, because I have a build right now that has LEDs in it that I've been working on for quite a while. It's all wired up already. It's in parallel. There's no Conway board. Can I basically snip the wires at the battery pack and just chuck a Conway board in there?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what Zane has done. It's what John does on a regular basis.
No, but the thing is that like the 4 individual LEDs, they're already, so there's only 2 wires sticking out.
Yep.
That I can get access to right now.
You can do
I
it.
can still do that. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Okay. So what you're saying is, right, I on the Conway board I call them channels, right? You know, you've got 4 channels on the output, right? So let me pull up the diagram for it one more time. Bear with me. Okay, we'll just call it this one, and then I'll jump to the browser. Okay. So what you're saying is you got 2 wires coming out. So you're asking, can you put 4 LEDs in parallel on one channel?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But bear in mind that brightness will be quartered, right? Because that current is going to be, you know, imagine like plumbing, right? Imagine taking 4 pipes after having a thin pipe. Then you've got, you know, a quarter of the current going everywhere. However, you just turn the dial up to compensate.
Right. Okay. Thank you. That's cool.
No problem.
Real quick, Lisa asked, is it worth investing in shrink tubing?
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
I have reels of it. That was easy. So, you know, when you're doing your final build, where possible, use heat shrink. It's $10 for a box of it. You know, again, I have reels of it here that'll be passed on if the rubber doesn't disintegrate beforehand. But it's good stuff, especially if you're connecting 2 wires together, what we call splicing 2 wires together. You need to cover it, otherwise it could short circuit against something. That's a good question. And I saw the hint of interactive traps. Oh yes, I'm looking forward to that.
I think that's going to be a great. I put it out there. I was like, "What do y'all want to see us build next week?" But I definitely think like the interactive trap. Like we have the kit, so like we.
Yeah, you have the kit. You know, I think step 1 is get comfortable with hooking up the wire wrap tool and getting LEDs just plugged into Conway. Just get them on wiring. There. You know, you can. Yeah, basic wiring, right? We've spent a lot of time on this podcast doing basic wiring stuff. So next week, in fact, a little practice on that is your homework, Colin.
Great.
And my latest video that's on my channel, on my YouTube channel, actually talks about, you know, making basic traps and so on. There's one there I did, which was a room with a flowing lava, you know, a river of lava going through it, right? And, you know, that one there, there's not necessarily a trap that moves, but it's using basic switches to control whether that light is on or off, right? So we can start with the basics like that, right, next week. I don't think we're quite ready to make motors move and things like that. That's you'll have to invite me. Yeah, you'll have to invite me back for something else on that one.
We can do that. I don't think that'll be a problem. I don't think we'll have a problem with that. That's great. So homework for everyone out there who wants to follow along is
buy a Conway board, buy a wire tool.
Get your stuff ready to go. You can buy it all on Terrain Tronics right there, or there are links to the wire wrap tool. But you can find all this on the website, Amazon. You can find it on Amazon, but also specifically for Dafydd's shop. It's over on Tindy, right, at Terrain Tronics, and you can find any of these materials that we've used here today. But I think next week, or during this week, practice the wire wrapping. My goal is to make one LED build this week, like a small one, something scattered terrain that I can put up, practice my wiring, integrating it, and then I want to, from there, if you haven't seen David's latest YouTube video that talks about exactly what we're going to do, you should go watch that too. All of the links to David's stuff is down below on the description for this video. You can head on over to his YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to him over there. And I think that's a good start. This is good. No, I don't think we've ever been given homework on the stream. So
I was trying not to sound like a teacher, but
no, it's perfect.
You know,
it's
just
I don't do homework.
I mean, the fun
You've got
thing
enough
this
to do
week.
at home.
The fun thing this week is most of Monday I'm off. So I think what I'm going to do, and my son is off, so it'll be a great time for my son to start learning how to do some of this stuff too, which will be fun.
Wire wrapping is fabulous with kids.
Yeah,
because it's very tactile. It's small. It's visual.
He was asking. He's like, "How do I use this?" Before the stream today, I was like, Daddy doesn't know." It's like, hopefully, I'll be able to tell you after the stream, and I will be able to, thanks to you and your instruction, David. This is great. This is
the extra credit is you have some awesome terrain with LEDs and stuff. That's your extra credit.
What, me?
That's the reward. No, Lisa asked if there was extra credit.
Oh yeah, that is the extra credit. You're right. Like you get to have cool stuff light up. Go back and turn all of the torches, reprint the torches that Zane made me for the Kenku Treehouse Village, and make them actually light up.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
You know, Amazon has. You've got some in the box I sent you as well. Flickering yellow LEDs that look like candles.
Yep. They're a bit smaller than the ones
I needed more of those, so thank you.
So I've been pinching my flicker lights out of those LED candles. I've just been taking them out and putting them into projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think 100 or something like that from Amazon is less than $10, right? And again, you know, that's a lot of LEDs. Those, you know, one of the first great builds you can do with the Conway board is a fireplace.
Yes.
Right. You know, a beautiful fireplace. Put 3 or 4 LEDs, and because they're the flickering ones, they don't all flicker at the same time. You know, you'll get this kind of ripple effect across them, or, you know, a randomized effect. So, you know, if that takes your fancy, that would be a great build. And, you know, you could integrate a reed switch into that next week, so that when somebody steps up to the fireplace, the fire goes out.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Oh wow! Hold on.
Did it die? It shifted everything.
No. The wife tried to call me.
Oh,
so
well, if the wife is calling, we definitely we don't want to keep waiting. We got to wrap things up today because I gotta jet and go teach myself. So, Dafydd, this has been absolutely wonderful and super informative. Again, knowing having someone walk you through it all is a lot easier for me. I 100% appreciate all the effort that you took into today. Everything from the boxes you sent the three of us, to the step-by-step tutorial, and the efforts that you went to set up everything today so people could walk through this step-by-step with you, whether it's live or on a replay. This has been wonderful, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I love teaching and helping people, you know, come up to speed in this stuff. Fingers crossed. You know, we'll have a few people with us next week that have Conway boards that, you know, will be with us trying to work out how to make interactive puzzles and so on.
Yeah, that'll be great. We'll reach out and we'll see if we can gather. That would be amazing. Like bring your Conway your Conway boards that you that you may or may not have split in two for the build today. Good to know. I was absolutely terrified. My heart sank when I thought I broke that board, but I didn't. And then it got really happy because I was like, I have 2. Ridiculous. All right.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate your time.
Yep. Thank you all so much for joining us out there. Come back next week when we make some interactive puzzles. We don't solder off just yet. You'll have to come back next week and tune in and see what we come up with for our puzzle rooms. Michael, Zane, always a joy and a pleasure to be hanging out with you. And thank you all out there in the Foam family for tuning in. We will see you next week here on the Crazy Crafter. Until then, be sure to craft your passion daily. Cheers, y'all. Later.
Bye.
Bye. And thus completeth the first stream from Zane's new pad. Yay!
That's true.
I think we are going to need more than 2 streams from Dafydd.
I think so too. It's gonna have to be like
I feel
more
really
streams.
bad, guys. I feel like I jumped the gun.